Greetings, my friends, and welcome back to the latest stream of Everett Reinvented. Today, I have the distinct honor of talking to the candidate for Councilor at Large, Miss Tina Oliveri. From what I've learned about Tina thus far, I can tell you, Tina's had to bring a high amount of energy to Everett political circles, and she seems destined to be a candidate that will distinguish herself as a proactive and resident-friendly representative of the people citywide. Tina hails from Somerville and graduated from Somerville High School. She married and bought her home in Everett more than 25 years ago. Tina is married to David Oliveri, who works in the Everett school systems, and she is the proud mom of 4 adult grown children, all of whom graduated from Everett High School. Tina has a Bachelor of Science degree in Human Services from Springfield College, and she brings certifications to the field of human services as a certified addiction recovery coach and a licensed addiction counselor. So in a moment, we're going to stop and hear from Tina about her incredible background. But I want to make sure I share that, I'm confident that her personal history will reveal to all of us on why I think she will make an excellent counselor at large. And it's undeniable, as I said, that her work in adult history speaks to an important principle. And that is, above all else, we're here to help each other and help each other thrive. So let's check in on Tina. Let her tell us more about her most incredible background and the vision she has as the next counselor at large for the city of Everett. Welcome, Tina. Tina Marie, how are you tonight?
I'm great, Walter. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okie dokie. Well, first of all, thank you for taking time out and giving me the courtesy of sharing some of your information with the voters. As you know, we initially upload on ER2, but we also have a copy on YouTube. This effort, well, it does appear on ER2. This is my deal. It's independent, so I'm not representing anybody's voice or anybody's opinions other than my own and my own work product here. So let's talk about Tina Marie Oliveri. Do you typically go by Tina Marie?
I actually do not. Marie is my middle name, but I decided that I wanted to use my full name for a change.
I like it.
Yeah, just grab hold of it and stop putting it out in print that way. So that's what I've been doing.
It has a little more distinguishment to it, and it separates you from if there's a few other Tina Oliveras out there. And I think it has a nice ring to it. So, air of class. All right. Speaking of class, so you and I were just talking a little bit. You are an Everett resident, and what street are you calling home right now?
I've actually been on Summit Avenue, down off of Broadway near Pope John.
Yeah.
Summit Avenue has been my home since 1995.
Since 95.
Yeah.
30 years.
30 years. Yes, 30 years actually will be in December. My first husband and I purchased a 2-family originally back in 95,
Oh, okay.
like 1 year before we were married. Great goal to reach, right? And then when I was pregnant with our fourth child, in 2004, we were fortunate enough to purchase the single family home across the street in a private sale from longtime residents in this home. And 25 Summit Ave has been my home for 21 years now. but it's the street for 30, almost 30. Yeah. It's amazing.
I was there in Everett until, oh, what was it, 2013. So potentially, and I was always a renter. Potentially, I could have been one of your tenants at some point in time, and
Yeah.
things fallen a little differently. But that's great. So obviously you were a new family, new homeowner, and all that, and you made it work for you. You expanded
Yeah.
your property, and that was 30 years ago. So you've seen a lot of changes in the
Oh,
city.
yeah.
Some for
Absolutely.
the probably for the good, but most, I don't know, maybe not for the better. And those are some of the things that you'll get into, of course, as a councilor at large, and just as you campaign. I know you're out there talking to a lot of people. I see your messages and your videos. How's the reception on the streets out there for you?
Wow, it's been really amazing. With all the fear that kind of comes along with trying something new in life, like putting yourself out there. Um, I thought getting signatures was like the hard part. This part seems a little bit more like ringing a bell and
Different.
introducing yourself, giving the card. You know, I found that people are very receptive, actually, and when they have something that they want to talk about, oh
They
yeah,
do.
they're
That's
very
that's
willing.
Everett. That's
They're
Everett
very
politics,
willing to talk. Yeah,
and
and
they will ask you your questions. What's your
they
position?
They do. Some of the people are really on top of it, like, because they don't know me. So they want to know, like, what do you stand for? What do you think? And, I come from the heart, when I talk, because I'm not a politician. So I'm coming from that human services place of being able to hear and listen, because that's one of my greatest strengths, is being able to hear what people are saying and listening to what they're saying. And
You
then
know,
helping them find a solution.
I hope the voters hear that too. In your measures, I'll figure that out. As I said in the monologue, um, your life's work speaks to helping people and listening to people. So you bring a wealth of experience, into the government domain. It is just going to be very, very useful to you, and it's going to be very beneficial to your constituency as well. So playing along on this dual theme of issues in the community and your biographical background. So you've got four children.
Hmm.
They are all Everett High School graduates.
Yes.
Yeah. And congratulations, good work, Mom. You get
Thank
them all
you.
through, getting them done. I don't know to what degree that you want to speak to what your children are doing now or anything like that. I know some are involved in local employment, local government, maybe, um, as well as your husband working for the school systems as well. So you've got a multitude of perspectives here on which you can draw uh, opinion and which you can draw plans on how do we fix things, how do we keep the good things going and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about the spread of your family and your ties. The way I've put it to other people is, tell me what ties you to Everett. Tell me what pushes your buttons here. What are the things that you think are need to be addressed?
Okay. Yeah. And I don't have a problem speaking on my children. They are like my greatest assets, right? They're like my greatest, they bring me the most joy in my life. And I'm proud to be their mom. My oldest son, Ryan, is 26. He's in the union. He followed in his father's footsteps. Um, his father's been in the Carpenters Union 38 years, and he's been in about five now. He's getting married November 1st to another to another family. He's getting married into another family from Everett. So he's marrying somebody from high school that they went to school
Uh-huh.
together.
Yeah.
Um, he's working and they're saving to buy a home. So their wedding's coming up pretty fast. November 1st will be here before we know it. Um, my next son, Nicholas, he's 24. He works for Rubber Right Rollers in Chelsea. And yeah, it's a like an assembly line factory. They do a lot of custom work, I guess, for like rubber pieces and stuff like that. He loves it. Um, he goes off to work every day. He plays video games. He's a great kid. His friends come over still, and like he's really living his life, really. And I'm grateful. Like 3 of the 4 kids live at home. So then my 2 daughters also
Really?
live at home. Yep. Kaylee she just turned 23. She works at the Lafayette as a para. She also graduated in this past May. She graduated about, I think, 11 days after me. She automatically became a second generation college student because I became a first generation college student. So we got to, wear our caps and gowns together in the month of May, and it was truly amazing. Yeah. She's working on her master's for special ed. She's probably by next school year, she'll be a special ed teacher at the Lafayette.
It's
And then,
in the genes, huh?
yeah, yeah. And then my youngest daughter, Christina, she'll be 21 in December. She's enrolled at North Shore Community College, taking some early childhood education classes, and she's a for kindergarten at the Lafayette. That is the elementary school that all 4 of them went to. So it's kind of like bittersweet to see my 2 girls working there now. And it's crazy because they're working with some of the teachers that were their teachers. It's that's more freaky for the teachers than it is for
Sure it
me,
is.
right? Yeah. They're like, "Oh, you're my coworker now?" So like they think it's cute and it's awesome. Like they're getting to see the world like through like where they like had some of their best days at school, and then they're sharing it with like people that were mentors to them when they were younger. So that's like such a gift for them, I think.
Well, it seems like a world of love for you there at your house.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of heartbeats. You get some kitties too. I saw some
Yep.
pictures.
3 kitties, yep.
You
And
know,
my great husband Dave, um custodian in the school system. Um right now he is out of Vine Street. He cleans the admin building. He's like the floater. He does the mail, deliveries and like odds and ends. He helps out when they're short a custodian for lunch, and he truly loves the work that he does, and he is a very hard worker, and I'm super proud of him.
God
Um,
bless them.
yeah,
Labor of love
it
for
is
sure. Working with
definitely a
kids.
labor of love. Yeah, he's very relied upon throughout the school department. And if anybody ever says, "Oh, Dave, oh, I love that guy," and like that is actually the absolute truth, and I love it.
So recreationally, you've got. I imagine you still do some photography. I know it's not. You don't call on it as much as when you really did it as a
Yeah.
solid business. But you also the wild side. You're out there on the trikes,
Oh, yeah.
riding around. What do
Riding
you
those
call them?
three-wheel
The Transams? Is that what they call? What are they called?
Can-Ams.
Can-Ams. Yeah, yeah.
Can-Ams.
They
Yeah.
look like fun. They look like a lot of fun.
Oh, they're super fun.
A guy like me though needs to stay off things like that. I
They're
just
easy to
don't.
ride. They're automatics.
Yeah, I know, but believe me, I can screw up a free lunch sometimes. It's just, it's just terrible. Um, Mainstream occupation. So, licensed addiction therapist. Is that right?
Yep, licensed addiction
Counselor,
counselor. Yep,
counselor.
in the state.
All right. Certified recovery coach.
Yes, in the state. Yep.
You talk about a labor of love, and you talk about something will. And I know I've been in healthcare and I've been in human services businesses. Sometimes, at the end of your workday, it's tough not to go home and just it's a hard business. It's a
It
very,
is.
very hard business. You see people in their most absolute uh, difficult times and most pressing needs. And sometimes it's just a matter of a need of communication that you can't get through. You can't get through with people. And if they could just hear certain things that validate their existence as human beings and such, it would change. So, this brings me into why I think, or I believe, based on your background, that you would be a very effective counselor. I see you're high profile. I see you're highly energetic. I see that you have a great reach and a great, ability to lend an ear and understand people. And you've proven yourself. You've proven yourself academically. You've proven yourself historically in professions, and certainly within the community. And there is no greater proof as to your ability to love and care for people than the family of four that you just talked about. So let's press on just a little bit, and let's talk about a little bit more about what you see in Everett, and some of the concerns you might have. So I generally like to look at three different areas right now. Is the issues that are you know coming out of lack of accountability in city government, the uh, general access. With all this building that's gone on and everything else, access is taken on a different definition no matter what you're doing. You don't have freedom of movement in the streets any longer. You have it for a while anyway, but you don't have freedom of movements in the neighborhood. I know you're familiar with this one poor constituent where she didn't even know that a new building was going up beside her house, and they encroached up to 3 feet away from her wall. And this is a multi-generational family home, uh, basically with her foundation ready to collapse because they dug so closely. So, you know, um, again, access has become a big issue. Then, of course, we get the stadium thing. So tell me what you're seeing going on here, and what a council at large, Tina Marie Oliveira, would like to start motivating her colleagues to do as councilors.
Yeah. You did bring up some really great points. And like throughout the years, like what I have noticed, very recently, and like say the last like very recently for me is like the last couple of years. Um, I see like all the great changes that have been happening, like for safety, right? Like for safety for pedestrians and safety in the neighborhoods and like people flying up streets. And I get all that, right? We need to have safety put in place. We don't control how people drive, and we don't control how, we don't know if people know actually how to drive or if they know where they're going.
They're
Um,
licensed.
because Right, if they're licensed, right? Because there can be severe repercussions to, going up the street the wrong way and a car coming the other way. So, what one thing that I finally did for my street, and I got all the neighbors on board. It took some time, but I changed Summit Ave to a one way coming up from Broadway. um, February, in February will be a year that it's been changed. Um, but it took months through, it had to go through the council. Ward 3 council had to bring it to the meeting, and then the police had to be involved and the fire had to be involved. They didn't say it was going to be any problem for them. But
And didn't you bring that as a presentation in public participation at one point? Didn't you? Did you
No,
speak to
I
the
didn't.
council?
No, I
Okay.
didn't speak to them. I wrote a letter. Somebody might have read it on my behalf at the
Mhm.
meeting, but
All
I
right.
did not. Yeah, I didn't actually go to the meeting. I just wrote the letter, got what they asked, which was like 25 signatures from the street, from the neighbors. And then what a world of difference it makes just from having the street the one way, because now people aren't fighting and there's nowhere to park, right? So when we go into that whole safety thing, let me go back to what I was saying was, in the last 2 years, more cars are on the road. I don't care what anybody says. There are more registered cars, and I'm going to do the work. I want to find out the statistics, but I'm going to find these numbers, right? Because that's what I'm going to be tasked to do for myself. There's got to be more cars on the road, no doubt about it. And they're lining the streets to take away parking, which we already know is one of the biggest issues in this city to begin with from even 10 years ago. And now there's less spaces, more cars, and more properties that are being allowed to not adhere to the variances, and it gets passed through, and then they take like a 2-family and turn it into 6 apartment buildings, and they're not offering any parking because that whole ordinance got thrown out the window. That's still an actual ordinance in this city that you need to offer parking, and yet these places are opening up with no parking spots, like the 600 on Broadway, 30 spots.
And we know they're
And
going to
like,
bring cars. So they're going to have
right,
cars. So
of course they're
it's
bringing
going to happen.
cars. Like this this rumor, whatever I heard people saying about like this is a walking community. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. Not in the least bit. And so yes, we're following some safety stuff in the city, but at what? At the expense of what? At the expense of cutting down the lanes of traffic. People drive much more recklessly than they did 5 years ago, 10 years
Oh,
ago.
absolutely.
People are in
Absolutely.
much more of a hurry. So are we really? Are we really though being safe?
I would say no. I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
constantly posting things on the Everett Reporter pages that kids getting run over, getting on a school bus,
Mhm.
and things like that in other cities and towns. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise that Everett is gridlocked to the point it is because it keeps some of those cars from reaching a peak speed that could kill somebody. But there are seriously there are streets, that I uh, can't think of the street. The main drag, the one that runs parallel to Nichols Street. The
Oh,
cars used to tear down that in the morning. A little cut through, join them out to Route
Hancock?
16. No, not Hancock. On the other, off of Ferry, you get
Oh,
out
oh yeah, Union Street?
Union. Yeah, the
Union.
cars used
Yeah.
to tear through every. Now, eventually, stop signs went up here and there, and to slow the traffic down a little bit. But hey, that was a dragway. So maybe it is a blessing in disguise that some of the inept planning that's gone on in the city is actually slowing the traffic down.
Yeah,
Uh,
like those speed bumps they just put everywhere. Like I don't know. It doesn't make sense
ridiculous.
to me. They're
But
like randomly.
this kind of lends itself to the another thing that you and I were talking about offline there, and that's really the qualifications of people that are in responsible positions within city government. So when you look at the city planning, you look what happened with Ferry Street. You look what happened with all the construction around. All this sits at the feet of a city planner. It's at the feet of other people. So, in my opinion, and I think the opinion of many, is a lot of people were put in place, appointed positions in jobs that they don't qualify for. And the resident is paying the price. The taxpayer is definitely paying the price. So, what's your thoughts on how city government is staffed and how they should be looking at things? And maybe the deportment of some of the people that currently sit in city government right now that really is raising some eyebrows. Take it away.
Yeah, like when I just think about like my goal of like going back to college, so working in the field of human services, more specifically, my background is in the field of substance use disorder and mental health. And
Mhm.
so like you can show up and work in that field, sure, right? But you can't be a supervisor, you can't be a clinician, you need to have that education behind you. So when I
Yes.
think about that, right, anybody can work in the human services field as a helping, right? But to be more, you have to be more qualified to be a therapist, to be a clinician, um, to diagnose people, to give them meds, right? So when I think about that for my own life and how I chose to go back to college to get this education because I have a larger plan, right? I think about that and I say some of these people are sitting in seats that they don't hold the education requirement. So how do they get that job without having what the qualification states? And
Yeah.
then it boggles
Yeah.
my mind, right?
And there's a liability there too. And again, I don't mean, I don't know the man, and I'm not assaulting him or his character. Maybe he does have the innate ability to learn quickly and get on the job. But the human resource position, human resource director's position in Everett, the gentleman, he's been thrown a lot. A lot has been thrown into his lap, and it's like pushing a snowball up the hill.
Mhm.
The certifications and the training you need to be an HR director, and all that sensitive information that you handle. So, yeah, but to your point, generally in most career fields, you don't walk in and say, "I'll learn as I go." Uh,
Right.
there is just too much liability there for the city. Now, the city is under a deluge of lawsuits right now, and God save whoever follows Dean Maria in office. That person is going to be left with basically reaching out and trying to settle these things and resolve these things. Because if they just wait for the cows to come home, it could cost quite a bit of money and cause financial instability for the city itself. Yeah,
Yeah.
insolvency. So I'm really concerned about that. Um, I'd like to talk a little bit about the soccer stadium. We know that it's been contentious, the issue on whether it should be a ballot issue or not. I don't want to assume, but do you believe that this should be a question, or that it should go on the ballot and the Everett residents should be able to express their feelings?
100%. 100%. The residents should have a say in this. I mean, if I remember correctly, we had a say in the casino
Absolutely.
and we were promised as residents, we were promised that our taxes would not go up. And one of my biggest points in the last couple of years, because it's been this casino opened, I believe, June of 2019. Um, and so our taxes have been creeping up the last couple of years. And you wanna the stuff I hear out there is, "Oh, well, properties are going up," and well, the real estate market is out of control, so, like, don't even use that as an excuse. But so you to make our taxes go up, you assess my house at a higher value, so of course my taxes is gonna go up. But everything is out of whack in this city now. There's a house around the corner on Broadway, right near me, um, that it's a single family. It does not have a driveway. This house does not have a driveway. I
Yeah.
think it has
Yeah.
5 or 6 bedrooms, right? Whoever bought that property, it was fallen down, dilapidated. They redid the whole thing. It's been taking them over a year. That's on the market for $1.2 million. Dollars. Who is going to buy that house on Broadway with no driveway? That's crazy to me. And so now let me go back to the stadium. So now we have a $1.2 million house on the market with no driveway. and you want to put a stadium down the other end of the city near the casino, where people always say that I don't drive that way to work. Thank God I don't have to deal with that end of the city at all. But I hear the horror stories. I can't even imagine a stadium that seats 20,000 people. They're like, where's the cars? People are going to drive there. Where are they going to park?
In your driveway.
No, no. Well, maybe. I mean, maybe if I could get $50 a car, that would be worth it.
50. I know one person says he's going 500 a slot.
Yeah, I know. That's
You
crazy too, right? So yeah, like
know,
I the
we
bat
joke,
is
but it could happen. It could happen.
right, and it should be on the ballot, and the residents should have a say. But from what I hear, right, I don't do so much homework right now, but from what I hear people saying is it's a done deal. And I did watch the council meeting that was talking about that back in like July, I think, and they said that it was already signed. They didn't know what they were signing, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
signed something they didn't really understand, and it's already a done deal. So even if it's put on the ballot, it doesn't matter. That's what I
Well,
was told.
as far as number of cars and digging out some of the information you want when you do your homework on this, or do more homework on this,
Hmm.
I can tell you that candidate Maria Bussell has some information on her website that will break that down for you, the number of cars, the number of households. And in fact, there are graphs on there that show that there, I don't know what the most recent year is, but I recall, I think it was 2023. So,
Okay.
but the source is on there, and you can go to the source, see if they've updated. It'll give you
Yep.
the breakdown of the information you need there.
Okay.
Um, to your point on the escalating taxes and the the game of three card Monty they like to play with you, if you ever heard of that term before.
Yeah.
It's a scam game. They just it's an eggshell type thing. So they raise your property values, your assessment, and then your tax rate goes up. No, your tax bill goes up. Tax rate doesn't necessarily go up. But let's not overlook that um, not only did Dee Maria kill the goose that laid the golden egg in the casino, they could have done something with their taxes. He never gave the goose a chance to lay the egg. All right. He sold it all away beforehand. There was a renegotiation period recently to renegotiate the host, and he did it again. So there's been a couple of chances there for for the existence of the casino really to have a positive impact
Hmm.
on the tax rate and the tax base in the community. And it's just been consciously and ineptly uh, left on the table. It just hasn't happened for the residents. So, while in theory the potential was there by building the casino and getting a part of the revenue that it could alleviate the taxes. In practice, it did not, and that's because of the people who negotiated this agreement. And who's to say what the other fallout's going to be in the long term from that? So, stadium, same kind of deal. Um, any thoughts on what's happening with the Inspector General's office and the longevity overpayment? I mean, just in general, do you feel that there should be restitution there? Should there be resignation of the mayor? Well, what's the appropriate thing? Let's take the person out of the picture here. But when a public official is in this position and contingent upon it being, yeah, this really happened and it was a purposeful act, what's the proper response? What's the atonement for something like this?
Well, I'm pretty sure in anything that's been recently been in the news, aside from that incident, I'm pretty sure it's been the payback and the resignation. Um, and so um, I I can't even believe that this conversation is still happening. I
Yeah,
watched that council meeting when they were talking about it, right? And that was around the time when the individual did not go to that meeting. And as a resident, I felt duped. I felt insulted. And as a taxpayer, I felt the same way, right? And then to the council votes no confidence. So now there's been crickets since then, right?
Right.
And it's like I'm appalled that that nobody is speaking up and saying anything, like pay back the money or resign. Like you like I I'm like actually so I don't even know the word. Like I guess I'm dumbfounded by the whole
Yeah.
situation because
Yeah.
let me take a very recent, just last week. Now I didn't disclose where I work, but I'm an independent contractor for a facility in the state of Massachusetts.
Right.
And I don't work directly for that facility. Like I said, I don't work for the state,
You're
but I'm
per
an
diem.
independent. Yeah, I'm an independent contractor for the state. So something that just happened in the news was a higher up official in the news, and he was found to have used some committee funds for personal ventures,
Yes.
um, and the receipts didn't match, and same kind of audit, right? And he was ordered to pay a $10,000 fine, I believe. Plus, he has to pay back that money, which was something like $38,000 or something, right? Like they didn't ask for his resignation because it was like didn't have to do directly with his role in the state. And so he agreed to just pay back the money and put it behind him and let it go by and be
And
done with.
accept responsibility for
Right.
what he
And
did.
accept responsibility for what he did.
And that's why I was chuckling and actually trying to stifle my laugh because it just amazes me that not only that the DiMaria administration and Carlo DiMaria himself is refusing to pay back, that, that him and his close staff actually act offended that they
Yeah.
would be accused of such a thing when it's it's in plain sight. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it is. It is. I think there is little to say, but he can have his day in court on that. But in the meantime, if he wants his day in court, let him pay back the money, and all right, if he proves his innocence, think about giving some of it back to him. But
Right. Yeah,
it's
like
just,
as far as I think is what's happening is what I read in the paper, which, I take that with a grain of salt, coming from the paper that I was reading.
suing the IG.
Yeah. And like he's suing them to prove that he's right. And so I'm pretty sure that in like you go up against the state in any state, I don't know, like that seems pretty big role, like
Uh,
to question the state.
to use your industry language, it's high risk behavior.
Yes, high risk behavior. I wanted to use
Most
another word, but I didn't want to make this
yeah.
street lingo, so
That's
I
okay.
kept it.
I'm not monetized, so YouTube can't bounce me, and I publish my own stuff anyway, so I
Oh,
always
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
find a
yeah.
place to put it. But all right, no, excellent points, excellent points, and so let's move into phase three that, like I told you, I talked about. So in the perfect world, and come November 5th, when Councilor elect Tina Marie Oliveri is sitting there deciding her destiny and the destiny of the city council for the next 2 years. What kind of issues come up? What do you want to see happen? How does Tina Oliveri make a difference? And what does she bring to the table
Well,
for the
looking
future?
at it, yeah, looking at it from a resident standpoint. So, like, if I can just like say, um, all that talk of everything that we have just discussed, all the stuff in the city that's going on, right? When you're sitting around with people and they're talking about it and people are angry, right? They're mad and they're pissed off and but like I can either be part of the solution or part of the problem. And so one day I was just like, you know what? I don't want to complain about this. I want to do something about it. And so that's when I decided to pull the papers, right? And so overall, the way I look at it is the residents have lost their voice. There, there is no voice for us. That's me. I'm a resident. I'm a taxpayer. Um, I'm not, you know, I may get the opportunity, which I would be super grateful to try this out in my life, to
Yes.
sit at a table to speak for the residents. Like I do that now in my career. I speak for the
Right.
most vulnerable people. I speak for
Absolutely.
people that don't know what to ask for. They don't know how to ask. They don't know that stuff's available. It's kind of the same idea, but it's on such a larger level because now I'm doing it at a level where, and it's not because I have power, but it's because I have a voice that sits at a table where other people sit with me that also have information, resources, experience. And I'm just going to bring that stuff to a table with other people to have a conversation on a larger scale to speak for the residents and let their
Yeah, but
voices be
Tina,
heard.
you also have the human qualities to deliver that. There are
Well, yes,
people that
that too,
can
yes.
sit in at the table, and absorb the information, but they don't have the ability to do anything with it. You have the ability to transfer information and make people feel the pain from that information or the joy or whatever it might be. But translating information into feel is a very, very lost art for many, many people. I was put it a kid. I spent years as a professional golf instructor, and try. I could verbalize and tell people what they needed to do as far as mechanics, but haven't I had an ability also to explain to them what it felt like, what it
Mm.
felt like to go through this motion, what it felt like to think through this motion, and being able to translate, personalize it for them, and they could identify and ergo they could move forward. Same thing in the environments you're talking about here. People can have ideas and things like that, but if they can't convey to the people that they're trying to advocate with, not for, but with, uh, what that feeling is, and make them assume the shoes of the individuals or the demographic that's affected by what you're trying to do legislatively. It's lost. It's totally lost without that. So don't sell yourself short
Yeah, I
in that
know.
because
Thank you. Yeah.
you definitely do have that ability. Um, what else can we bring forward? We talked a little bit about people being in positions of responsibility and things like that, or irresponsibility. So how does a council have a role in something like that? Can there be legislation that will strengthen things where a review? I mean, I put this question to the candidates. Basically, what I'm looking for to see is the creation of a confirmation committee that's binding. When I had a couple of temporary positions in one particular case, I was one of the finalists for the permanent position as their veterans officer, and the town narrowed it down to 3 finalists. We all went before an open meeting of the town board. We were asked questions just like in an open interview would be. And then they voted up and down on who was going to get the job. And that was binding. The town manager could not override that. Or if it was a city that did the same thing, the mayor couldn't override it. That was a confirmation committee. Here in Everett, yeah, they go through the formality of being confirmed. But if there are people that haven't been confirmed, the people in positions for more than a year now were not confirmed. So what happens? Is there something on? Can can you foresee something along those lines to start bringing some integrity into the hiring process?
Yeah. I think like something that I had thought about was putting it out to like almost a seeing committee,
Uh huh.
like
Uh
and
huh.
allow the residents of like maybe, I don't know, maybe have like two from each ward,
Sure.
right? Be able to form a committee based on a volunteer basis, but like you are now going to be part of some process, overseeing this or that and kind of get the residents involved because a lot of the residents, I think, they're raising families here. They're invested. I mean, and especially with the way the world is today, you can't just like be like, oh yeah, I'm going to sell my house for $700,000 and go move over
Mm-hmm.
here
Mm-hmm.
because there's a shortage of houses and then prices are just crazy everywhere. So you can't just move, right? You have to try to figure out a way to make what's happening work. And I think if we bridge that gap between government at City Hall with residents, resident participation, maybe we can form something in the middle where we give
Yeah.
them also
Yeah.
another voice as well.
Yeah, like a screening and review committee of some sort or
Yeah.
something. But I understand what you're driving at. You're looking for some kind of independence from, from the one hand washes the other network. Um, Definitely. Well, coming back full circle, as I said before, you just your optics tell me high energy. Tells me that you'd be very, very effective. Your message, what I've heard and what I've read and what I've learned from talking to you, um, reaffirms that in my own mind that you'd be an exceptionally good candidate. So we've been talking for a little bit now, probably about 45 minutes or a little bit more. I'm going to be closing this up, but I want to make sure that you verbalize and you tell those voters out there, how do they reach Tina? What's the email? How do they reach you by email?
Okay, so my email is Tina Marie for Everett, all one word, at gmail.com.
Right?
Um, I also have a Facebook election page.
What's it?
Elect, I
Okay.
believe it's elect Tina Marie Oliveri for Everett. No, I'm sorry. Tina Marie Oliveri, city councilor at large. I mean, if you just search Tina Marie Oliveri, it's
I
going to
was just
come.
going to say that.
Yeah,
They can go
it's
up there.
pretty. It's
That's what
pretty
I do.
simple. The Facebook algorithm is pretty easy to figure out.
You got
You
a
know,
Twitter X account?
no, I'm not on Twitter. No.
Okay. All right.
I
Um,
don't do the only social media I have is email and Facebook.
and
Um,
there may or may not be a website in the future.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's possibly in the
Currently,
works. Yeah.
it really depends. But
I feel like
I
I'm a very easy person to get in touch with. And I'm very interested in speaking with anybody that has reached out to
yeah.
me.
And how about
I've
a
had
phone number? How about a phone number
yeah,
we can put in the screen? Do you
yeah.
want to share one of those?
Yeah, I have it's my personal cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm committed to it. I've had it for 30 years. I never changed my cell phone number once, but do you want me to say it?
Yes.
Okay. So it's 617-429-1393. And it accepts phone calls and text messages. So
Okay.
whichever people prefer, they can
Great.
just leave a
Great.
message if I don't answer.
And this is a new thought that just came to me, but I'm starting to pursue it. One of the things I want to encourage is get the new voters out into the mix because if the same old keep returning to the polls, you're going to get the same old politicians returning.
Right.
Uh, and part of engaging new voters, in my opinion, is multicultural. I'm talking multilingual and what have you. So, is to your knowledge right now, are you reaching out to um, Haitian community, Brazilian community, any of the others? Is there any are you multilingual? Is there anybody in your campaign that's multilingual that residents might be able to talk to? Well, I'm
Um,
sure as you're out there, you'll find volunteers to join
yeah,
you that are
yeah,
bilingual.
I have a lot of people that are willing to help, so I'm still trying to navigate through that. As you
Sure,
well know, it's very
sure.
time consuming and there's not enough hours in the day to get everything done I want to do in one day. Plus, still, you know, work, maintain a household and kids and family and self-care time. I'm very big on that. So, one thing I would like to add, if I can, if you don't
Sure,
mind,
absolutely.
um,
Yeah.
I decided that I'm going to have a meet and greet, like meet the candidate.
Sure.
Um, and I'm gonna go a little bit off the beaten path from what everybody else usually does.
Off
Just
the
because,
grid.
yeah, off the grid, just because, financial and like, I have to fund some of this out of my own pocket. So, um, I'm going to have on October 11th at my address, my personal home, I'm
Uh-huh.
going to have a meet the candidate kind of party. People can come by for some light refreshments, some coffee and dessert, and I'm going to be available for people to come meet me at my home from 2 to 4. Um,
Great. And,
yeah,
I'm just saying, wink, wink, nod, nod. If you have somebody with like one of them high-end iPhone cameras and you wanted to get somebody like, I don't know, Everett Reinvented to do a live at your meet and greet,
okay.
we can do a chat session with it, and people can post questions and comments to you, which of course you can go back after the fact and answer.
Yeah,
But
yeah, we can talk about that.
if,
Yeah,
if they can't make it by, maybe they can make it onto their computer, and you can access a few more people that way. But
yeah,
think
that would
about
be
it.
awesome.
Think
Yeah, I'll
about it.
think about it. Yeah, thank you for
Tina
that.
Marie Oliveri, the next Councilor at Large, City of Everett. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I wish you the absolute very best and Godspeed in getting to the finish line on this. And I hope to see your wonderful face on the City Council come soon. All
Thank you,
right.
Walter,
So,
so much. I appreciate your time.
going to be signing off and just give this a minute to upload and we'll be good. So, again, thank you, Tina, and talk to you soon.
Thank you, Walter. You too.